Hey guys, Mr. Ridgway here. So what if I told you that by the end of this video, you could speak another language? Hard to believe, right? Well, like German or Spanish or French, there are languages that we use all the time and we don't even realize it. Math, which we'll be looking at today, has a language that's all its own. Some of the languages relatively easy to spot. Things like the tenths place or the hundredths place, or even when we say point for a decimal. But what about those troubling things called story problems? Story problems often look challenging because there are words that need to be understood before we can solve our problem. And this is what we call a specific case of math being a language. Take, for example, addition. Ever been to the store to buy that one toy that you've got to have? Oftentimes, when a story problem about addition happens, we say things like, that's going to cost $12.95 plus tax, or how much will both of those toys cost together? In both of these sentences, we know that we are going to have to add because of two words, plus and together. The truth is that math gives us these little hints all the time as to what we're to do. Do any of these words for addition sound familiar? Add, altogether, both, and all, sum, total. So for example, you have two apples and bananas. How many do you have together? But what if our sentences say something like this? Mr. Ridgway had 10 bananas. Mr. Vaught had 39. How many more did Mr. Vaught have? The phrase, how many more, gives us that hint that we will need to do another operation. Subtract 39 by 10. Another way of saying it could have been, how many fewer bananas did Mr. Ridgway have? So subtraction uses this language too. And our common words are things like difference, fewer, how many more, how much more, or left. Now multiplication are a little bit different. Multiplication uses words like times, every day, or at this rate, because we're constantly doing something time and time again, which makes sense because multiplication is just lots and lots and lots of addition. Division will often use the word each. If there were 20 apples and Mr. Vaught and Mr. Ridgway each get half, we know that we must divide 20 by 2 in order to see how many each of us will get. The bottom line is that math, like English, is a language that we can learn to speak, and if we learn to listen, makes our lives a whole lot simpler.